What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're back on Assetto Corsa, and we're going to be checking out CToretto's brand new track called Backwoods. We do have the WDT and WDT street packs today. We're here in the S15, and just like Goosiest did on his video on this track, we're going to be talking a little bit about Assetto 2.0 and some of the things we're looking to come into the game. Now, I want to warn you guys, we are not very good at this game, and we don't have traffic out here, so it's going to be a little bit different. We're kind of still finding our bearings, but we are running this on our private server, so if you guys are looking to come get some doors with us, you can check that out. Link in the description down below. Really excited to be getting some doors as we got the mods from the Discord in the server today, so without any further ado, let's get driving. All right, we got a little squad. Taylor has warned us that he is still beginning, still learning. I think that is true for me too. I'm pretty buns here at this game. I got the third person down in the bottom right as well for you guys today. Hopefully, I'm throwing some angle. I actually don't know a lot of the time when I'm driving on Assetto what my angle looks like. Oh, that's too much because I'm inside the car, and so this will be good to edit back and sort of look at some of the footage. But that's not the point of today's video. The point of today's video today is Assetto 2.0 and some of the things that we're looking to see come into that game. Let me make sure my turbo's all the way up. So I was saying a few streams ago, one of the things that I'm really hoping that Assetto does, and trust me, I'm on Team Goose when it comes to mod support. I think it's a huge thing that has made Assetto 1 popular, especially over the last few years. But I'm actually hoping that Assetto 2.0 puts more in the base game. And that's something I kind of wanted to talk with you guys about today, both on stream and the guys who are driving with us, because I really do think there's a lot of potential for Assetto to include some of this stuff and maybe even make it available on console, right? So I'm thinking like customization, drift cars, drift tracks, that type of stuff. If they could include it in the base game, similar to Car X, they might be able to do something like, oh man, sorry, Will. I feel like if they could include that stuff more in the base game, then they could do something more similar to like Forza Horizon, where it's cross-platform and different consoles. Come on, get out of here, you Brit!
God damn it!
Sorry. Yeah, I don't know. I think it would be really cool if Assetto could work on something closer to like a car customizer and sort of let, like, I know a lot of the guys need to go into Blender and 3D Max and stuff to do custom body kits or even wheel changes. And so I'd really love to see like an in-game customizer that would affect the handling of the car, similar to, you know, Forza's upgrade shop and tuning or Car X's dyno stand. I think would be really cool in Assetto 2.0. So that way we have a little bit more freedom to customize the cars. Because truthfully, that's my one thing that I don't love as much about Assetto is the fact that the cars don't really feel customized. They don't feel as much like they're mine. I kind of feel like I'm stuck with what I got and I can change the color or open Blender. And so I would really love to have that. Ooh, let's go. Now, hopefully as this video goes on too, guys, hopefully the driving and the tandems will clean up a little bit. I apologize. Tell me how that was my fault, Will.
What's your fault?
How? The British, dude. That's why you lost the war. I don't know. What do you guys think, man? Do you guys feel like that's something that they could do, or do you guys think that it's going to be kind of more up to the mod community? I want to hear from you guys too, obviously. Oh, and if you're watching this on YouTube, I want to hear from you guys down in the comments. But I don't know if Taylor, Will, Dark, if any of you guys have any thoughts on that.
I mean, this game already stretches out to a lot of the community, but again, when it does come to Assetto Corsa 2.0, if they are going to be putting in body kits, custom wheels, even tracks, it's just going to take up a lot of time for 3D designers and even the devs, just a lot of time to make the game come out. I mean, they could do what Forza are doing, like adding their additional expansions later into the game's life. But again, that could also be leading to negative reviews from the community.
So are you guys feeling like it's almost better left to the community to do the modding and the content versus the game itself?
Well, that has its positives and its negatives. With the positives, you have a lot of creative people, such as CToretto and other map makers that make these awesome maps on AC as we are driving on one right now.
Right.
But the only negative is that a lot of people can steal other people's work and just say they've made it themselves. So if somehow there's some copyright in place towards future maps for AC 2.0, and there could be the potential of custom maps for people to use. It's really up to the devs, see how they feel.
See, my big thing is by including it in the base game and not leaving it up to the modding community, you're opening it up to console. But actually, Twitch chat right now, the guys are saying that they're probably not even looking to, like, I don't want to say they don't care about console, but that might not be their focus, right? And that's something that kind of, it really doesn't make sense to me. Like, why would you want to put out a game quicker instead of taking your time with it and making it available for everyone? I feel like there's more, like, everyone wins in that situation, because then the base game comes out with more and I'm definitely I think that they should still leave it up to mod support, because I think the benefit of the community developing everything is you get more. Like, if there's, 58 people that make mods for this game, then you get 58 times more content than if Assetto hires one dev, So even if they do Assetto supported content, I would still definitely love to see community mod support, no doubt, but I do feel like it's a missed opportunity to not go after the console market by like limiting whether it's time or resources or whatever. Oh man, just having something in the game, right? Like, so Forza and GTA both have map creators that are part of the base game. And so that's an opportunity where people, even on console, can create community generated content, So I don't know, how do you guys feel about like that type of stuff, like car builders and map makers?
Well, if it was going to be car makers and map makers, if they're going to be releasing that to, say, console players, it has to be rendered very, very low for them to be able to make such large maps with a lot of like objects and detail. But for people that are like on PC, they'll be able to make these maps in an even higher detail than a console map. So like when CarX made their map creator, they just fully designed it to where it's like the middle ground. So it's just right between, it's good enough detail for PC and it's good enough detail for console, so then it'll be able to handle the program when they make their maps.
Well, doesn't CarX, don't you have to do something in Blender or something? Like, you kind of have to have some PC knowledge to even use that.
Yeah, with Blender is its own little editor. It's just a lot of plugins and a lot of knowledge on 3D software.
Right.
Especially with 3D Max. 3D Max is another 3D software.
Right.
But it's less used than Blender, because Blender is probably the most main project that's ever used in 3D detail.
So that's the thing with those in-game map creators, is I will say they're like on GTA and on Forza, like you can tell when it's a user created map. They all have that sort of like panels tiled together sort of feel. The fidelity is not super high. It doesn't feel as like, this feels like a real map, like there's rocks and trees and hills and stuff. And so that is something, it's like, I would definitely still want it to be available for the CTorettos of the world to create modded maps. But one of the cool things is that we thought was going to come into CarX was those workshop maps being available on console, right? So like your PC map makers could make, oh my, Ollie, thank you so much. Oh, sorry, distracted by subs, my bad. But yes, I feel like on CarX, one of the things I was most excited about was those Xbox drivers or those PlayStation drivers being able to drive the PC created maps. And I think that would be something that would be really cool for Assetto too. Maybe you like find a way to allow the CTorettos of the world to keep making maps, but then find kind of like a window for Xbox players to download that stuff and be able to play too. Now, I was an Xbox kid and I'm gonna own up to that, so I feel like I have a soft spot for console players. Oh man, but I feel like half the player base for car games in general is on console, and I feel like, at least in our community, there's a lot of guys who have Xboxes and PlayStation who just kind of watch us play Assetto that we'd love to have driving out here with us. And so, ooh, that was a nice transition. We're cleaning up a little bit, Will. I don't know how my angle looks. Hopefully, okay. But yeah, man, I definitely agree that these maps are created to like a higher standard than anything that could be done with like an in-game builder based on like the console spec and experience. Because you see that with Forza and you see that with GTA, where user-created maps just don't feel like this. This is like really professionally done, and so I agree. Assetto 2.0 definitely has to have community mod support. Oh man, in order to have the same charm as this game. Whoa, dude, I'm gonna tell you guys, the sweatshirt was a bad move tonight. Trying to talk on top of this this heavy I'm only running the G920, but man, is she strong.
Yeah, another point for like being like an idea for the in-game editor, if they already have like pre-made roads and trees like what Forza has, then just take that into account for like console people can just create their own maps from there. But if they want more detailed maps that they can just download or from like a set like workshop or like track download, it's just they've just been made by PC players, so they can just download them and just go on them and have fun. But yeah, I see your point. If it's made by a console player, then you definitely know a difference between made by a professional and someone who just wants to have fun.
Yeah, definitely. And like I do think CarX, at least until they hit that like workshopping license issue or whatever it was, I think they had the right idea of like allow PC players to use their PC resources and then allow console players to just download that content onto their Xbox and play that way. I would love that. I think that's the ultimate solution, because then you still get high quality maps, but then everyone can also play them. Then it's not like, you know, you're not limited to just Xbox players playing Xbox maps and PC, you know, because I think that's something that kind of hurts the Assetto player base. And even though it's, you know, PC only, it's still got so many people playing. It's like one of the most popular car games. So it's not like they're struggling for numbers. But if there's numbers to be had, then why not take that opportunity, you know? So I guess my next question would be, how do you guys feel about the car building aspect, right? Because I think one of my favorite things about CarX is that you can change the wheels, you can change the body kit, and then you can change like camber, caster, toe, all of your alignment specs. And to me, that makes the cars feel like way more personalized. And so I would love to see something like that in Assetto. What do you guys think about all that?
I think when it comes to making your own cars, I think that should just be left to the PC community, just to be able to 3D render in the car models, and then having the Xbox players just download the 3D car models. Because I really don't think that a console will be able to 3D render a car from IRL into a game.
So
that's just my opinion.
But what if like CarX has and Forza has like a bunch of preloaded models that then you can change like the suspension values and stuff, you know?
Yeah, like that's what I'm trying to say. It's like if a PC player 3D renders R32, then the console player that downloads it, they can edit the suspension, the handling.
Oh, I see.
If it's manual, automatic, if it leaks oil like a Subaru, you know.
Right.
All that customization they can add on to it. Then they can take it into, like, let's say they go into a drift server, they have like a setup of that car just for drifting, and then they might have totally different setup for racing or like no hesi. It's like having setups on here on different servers where we can apply different setups for like grip handling, brake pressure, camber, toe, all that jazz, just to make the car feel a little bit different.
Huh. Yeah, because I guess you can do all that on here, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, that's true. I just feel like for me, I would rather have, like, if I had the choice, right? And feel free to disagree, but if I had the choice, I'd rather have like, you know, 8, 9 drift cars that are really good, that have more customization. Like I could change the paint and the wheels and like all that stuff, headlights, even body kits that are like provided by Assetto, than what we have now, which is like you kind of like, you just download the car and the car is the car, you know? And I mean, I get you can tune it and it changes the way the car drives, but does it change the way like the car looks? You know what I mean? Does it make it your build? I feel like, you know, you kind of just, oh man, you download WDT or you download Gravy Garage and then you change the color of the car, and that's kind of all you can do. And so I guess that's my big knockback personally against the Assetto customization side of things.
WDT, there are multiple skins for the cars, because when you first get the WDT car pack, they're just all plain white. But on Assetto's community, there are so many liveries that you can apply to these cars to make them look unique and different. So let's say you're part of an Assetto Corsa drift team and they have a livery. All you can do is just download that livery and apply it to the WDTS cars. So just like the livery editor in CarX and Horizon, you can just download that livery that's already been made by someone else and apply it to the car that you like to drive a lot, or just any car that's in the server.
So, you know, Smogs from in the chat just made a really good point too, which is that there would be licensing too that they would have to deal with, and just kind of opening the door for like, oh, you can just mod things into this game, sort of allows there to be unlimited cars without needing to worry about the licensing, which is a really good point.
Yeah, but so they could do one or two things, is that they buy the licensing for the car models, or they do what CarX did for their approach, was just get rid of the badges and just have the car, just rename it to something completely different but is on the tongue.
I know GTA is getting like that too, dude. Some of the new GTA cars are just straight up like one-to-ones of the real thing.
Like that since the game has released. There are some cars that are so close to their real life counterparts. I just don't understand how Rockstar haven't been any shit for that.
Smogs also said in the chat that that there's one-to-ones of like actual real people's cars, and that is one thing that I do need to say in defense of Assetto 1.0's sort of community mods. And again, even if they did put like I know I said I would choose the in-game cars over the community-based stuff, but I might backpedal on that just a little bit, because that is a really good point that Smog's made, is that, like, okay, so on Forza, here's like one of my biggest complaints is they took the Type R wing off the RSX. Like, they used to have like the DC5 Integra R, and you could have the Type R wing, the Type R lip and stuff on that car. And then when they moved to just having the RSX, I didn't have that wing, I didn't have that lip, and so it didn't feel as much like the car that I had in real life at the time. And one of the cool things about 3ds Max Blender is you can get those lips and you can model them yourself if you have to, and make your actual car. And so in a way, although it's limited to the console players, it's actually a lot more free, and there's a lot more customization if you really want to take the time to learn Blender 3D Max. So it's like, how seriously do you want to take your car customization? You know, are you going to learn 3D modeling for the sake of playing a game? You know, I think a lot of the sim crowd would, yes, absolutely. Whereas a lot of the console crowd probably isn't going to take that time. And so yeah, it really is a matter of, does Assetto want that player base on their game, and why? You know. Also, Taylor, I think you were talking, man. I didn't mean to jump over you there.
No, you're all good. I think, like, kind of to piggyback on your point, like, one of the first things I do anytime a new game comes out is, like, see what of the cars I've owned are even, like, playable and drivable. Like, having that option to get something close to your real life car is always cool. And like, some of the, like, obviously I have a Miata right now. I drove an EK9 Civic for a while. Like, those cars are always in games. I had a WRX that's always in games. So like, that's just like one of the first things that I always jump in and look at is sort of what's in there and how close can you get to the mods of kind of what you have. So there's a lot to that that's definitely cool to be able to do. But I think for the average person, it's a little out of reach. Like, it's awesome if somebody designs them, but I don't think anyone's like going out of their way to design those themselves for their one car. Like, they're just gonna hope for a community mod that's already been made for that. And I think it does get you access to a lot more of those, which is cool. But definitely something where I don't see like Assetto going to the trouble to make pre-made assets on the level of, like, you know, some of the Forza cars have 4 or 5 body kits. I don't see 4 or 5 body kits for most cars. And like, the main thing for AC2 is like, what do they like, what's their main competitor? Like, I feel like original Assetto Corsa has like a little bit of everything, where like ACC feels like its goal was to be more of the, you know, Gran Turismo or even like iRacing counterpart on PC, where it tried to have, you know, some more bits of like, you have to run a track some to be able to race it in online, which is kind of mimics iRacing safety rating and that type of thing.
Right.
And
I didn't realize it was that in depth. I didn't know there was like an online like league and ranking system and stuff.
That's something that ACC tried to do a lot more that Assetto Corsa didn't. So they kind of, like, if you can, in my mind, it's more of like the Forza Motorsport and Forza Horizon split, where yes, they're similar, but they do 2 very different things. And that's kind of where I hope that AC2 kind of runs with what original Assetto has done. And I think a big part of why Assetto Corsa is still so relevant is because the mod community is awesome. Like, if you look on Race Department or anywhere else, there's 10 times the mods for original AC than there is for anything else. And it's, you know, you can go down the rabbit hole of this like you can anything else. Like, there's billions of, you know, Minecraft texture packs. So even if you're bored with the gameplay, you can add in something new or that looks different and catches your eye. And part of like having access to look at that many things and have them be free and not locked behind like a paywall or DLC or whatever, like, that's so cool that you can like still be like active in the community without even actively playing the game if you spend a lot of time going through mods or whatever. So I think that would retain a lot of AC's player base kind of coming to AC2. There's a reason why so many people haven't made that jump to ACC. It's good for what it wants to be, but it's not AC2. And so that's kind of where I hope that they stick a little bit closer to, you know, the more sandboxy feel that, you know, AC has. I think that that's really an integral part of feeling like, you know, kind of the extension of this game and not another iRacing, you know, PC only competitor, even with the headaches that adds for mods and console and all that stuff.
So that leads me to my next question is, I feel like a lot of the PC guys right now have unlimited access to all the cars, tracks, mods, things that they want, especially if they learn that Blender, that 3D Max, like, they're all set. So what is the purpose of AC2? Like, what do you think? I think Goose said this in his video too, where it was like, I think we'll probably still be on Assetto 1 for for a good bit into Assetto 2's life, because we kind of have everything here, and this is where the mods are. This is where the people are comfortable both driving and creating content for. And I think one of the reasons we've seen a spike in Assetto players over the last few years is that modding community and people feeling like even though it's an older game, they have unlimited access to whatever they want. So what is the purpose of AC2 other than like maybe a better physics system? And I think Goose actually mentioned crash physics. But other than that, what would you guys like to see? Smog said we don't really need AC2. I know. That's kind of where I'm at too, is like what's the thing that we're gonna be looking forward to most to AC2, if not included base game content that makes it more accessible to more people, right? I think for me, that's my biggest, I won't even say problem, but like my biggest reservation with Assetto is it's tough. It's tough to download. It's tough to figure out the mods. I'm coming, Will, hold up. It's tough to figure out the mods. It's tough to figure out how to download things. It's tough to figure all that out. And so you do need to be a PC player and probably a reasonably seasoned one in order to set the game up. But you know, other than that, what could we be looking forward to about Assetto 2 that's not already here?
That's something I think plays a really big part in AC2 as well, is like a lot of, like if you ask anybody who plays Assetto, what's the first mod you install? It's Content Manager, right, every time. And you know, it's Soul, and you know, when you want to play on servers with your friends, you do it through Content Manager, right? Like just that's where everyone starts. That's the type of thing that I think needs to be easier if AC2 is going to be successful. If people who open up Assetto Corsa and say, this game just never works for me, like it feels like it never launches, or I never have the right things, like you know, something good Content Manager server hosts do is have links to, you know, provided that their stuff is freely available and all that, is has links to the car packs that they use and the you know, the track that they use, like an option to kind of automatically download and install those into the right folder and make the game easier to play in that sense. Like easier multiplayer is really important. You know, even we've tried to do some of the cross-play stuff on Forza Horizon between PC and Xbox. Sometimes that is a nightmare, frankly, to get set up. Like it's hard when you start to do cross-platform stuff, and just in general, it's difficult with Assetto some of the time to kind of get that set up. You know, today's a good example. It took 40 minutes and a couple of relaunches to get to a point where everything was kind of set up.
I know, even I was setting up the server today and there was little hiccups and kinks and stuff, and this is, you know, that's not our first rodeo setting up an online server either. Yeah,
exactly. That's where I would rather see the base game nail that, for me at least, way more than, you know, car, you know, body kits and wheels, at least for me. I think even the worst game on the planet can be the best game you've ever played if it's easy to play with the right people. If it's accessible to enough folks, like, you know, even the worst game is a great time with 3 or 4 of your best buddies, right?
So you're saying more easily, same stuff, but easier to set up, like a Content Manager that's easier to download and figure out. And
yeah, just something that doesn't feel like it needs more than the base game to be playable. I don't know anybody who launches Assetto Corsa on their PC and not Content Manager. Like, even just eliminating that would be huge for AC2. I think it's almost necessary, but I'm hoping that that's a big part of what they're looking at, is how do we make it so that AC2 is easier, you know, the better usability and easier to play with your friends, and, you know, whatever that means for them. And so hopefully, like that, I don't know how feasible that is for something like AC2.
So are you guys all in favor of crossplay, cross-platform? Does anyone feel like it should be PC only?
No, not really. I think cross-platform will actually bring more players into the game.
Do you know if are they intending? I guess there's not a lot of news about it, but I have to assume they're looking at something like that, right?
I would wonder if they're gonna actually head towards the cross-platform direction. If they don't, then that's really up to the developers.
I mean, there's the numbers to justify staying PC only this year. There's a lot of players on this game just with the PC community, you know?
Yeah, I mean, there's hardly any console players streaming Assetto Corsa on Twitch, because I don't think anyone will like find that entertaining to watch.
Yeah, everybody who's asked about console in my experience has been told, like, I mean, you can play it, but it's not, you know, like everything everyone does on this game ever is mods, you know? So if you don't have that accessible, then it's kind of a moot point to even download the game. So there's definitely, like, if there is crossplay, it's gotta have access on the console into the PC content. Smog said make base game better, allow crossplay, but still have mods for PC. I agree, man. I think that's, as I spin out, I think that's the perfect solution, is definitely allow more mod support, and like Taylor said, have that mod support be more accessible to the players, because it is a little difficult, I think, right now on Assetto 1 to get everything working. There's just little quirks and kinks and things that can happen Even little things like needing to go in and delete little files or delete little code lines within files and things like that, just making it a little bit more streamlined would be huge. But then for sure, like allowing those other consoles to just access that material in some way would be a game changer for 2.0. Just creating lobbies more similar to, like, that's one thing I love about CarX. I feel like a CarX fanboy this video, but one of the things I love about CarX is that you have Xbox, PlayStation, and PC all in the same house, you know? It really makes for a bigger community, and it's really cool to connect with those people too. So yeah, that's kind of my hope for Assetto 2.0. Guys, if you made it this far in the video through all of our crashes and crazy points in driving, thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy the video or found it useful at all, please feel free to leave a like down below, subscribe for more just like it. Super excited to get more doors here on Assetto with the boys. I mean, you know what? Let me go get Taylor real quick. We're gonna get Taylor doors, I told you. Yes, sir. Woo! That's it. Guys, if you made it this far in the video, thank you so much for watching. You did find it useful or enjoyed it at all, that's the intro, outro, but backwards. Oh! Feel free to leave a like down below. Subscribe for more just like it. Make sure you guys are followed up in the Discord for future streams and tandem sessions. Catch you guys in the next one. Oh, peace.